We've had this Steam Deck here in the office for a few weeks at this point, and if you're looking for a review or some sort of in-depth analysis of how good this thing is at gaming, you're in the wrong place. I'm not going to do that. I actually haven't even used it that much because honestly, we bought it to see what games are going to run like on this thing because it informs us how they're going to run on a Chromebook. And so after playing a handful of things on here, I want to show you. Okay, before we jump over the shoulder and actually look at this thing in action, I want to go over one quick thing. We talked about it in the video before when we unboxed this, but it's important to know that on the Steam Deck, we're running Linux. We're running Arch Linux specifically. And in case you're coming into this and you haven't thought about any of this stuff and you're just like, I'm just excited about the Steam Deck, and how in the world would this relate to a Chromebook? Well, Arch Linux is what the container on Chromebooks that's running Steam is running. And Proton, this compatibility layer that Valve has created to run Windows games on Linux, is the same compatibility layer that we're seeing in use on Chromebooks. Now, the Chromebook version of all this is in alpha. We don't expect it out to be even in beta probably till the end of 2022, maybe early 2023. But the way that games run on this particular device can inform us a lot about how they're actually going to run on Chromebooks once all of it's done and finished and ready to roll out for people, because the parallels are all there. Everything is happening in the same way. And so that's kind of cool to think about because honestly, games run really well on here. We're going to show you that in just a second. But since they run so well on here, I'm running Apex Legends. That's what we're going to use kind of as our benchmark here today. Apex Legends is a Windows-only game. It installs, it runs perfectly fine on here. It looks like it's completely native. You wouldn't know otherwise unless you cared to dig up those kind of information bits and pieces. What that tells me is that once we have this all in place on a Chromebook, it's going to run much like what we see on here. And granted, this is a 720p screen, but the internals of this thing are not monsters. It's not like there's some huge GPU in here. It's some specific form of AMD coprocessor with a specified GPU, and it's not in anything else, so we can't exactly benchmark it against anything. But it's not like it's wildly powerful. I mean, it's a small device, so it's not some big, huge, like gaming tower rig somehow magically crammed into here. And so when we start talking about 12th gen Core i5, Core i7 Chromebooks that are going to have a really nice GPU in them, and then the possibility of having discrete GPUs in Chrome boxes and stuff like that down the road, there's no reason that Chromebooks and the Steam container on Chromebooks won't perform just as well as this. And that was the whole reason for us getting that. And so now that I've kind of had time to install some stuff and actually, get stuff up and running to actually see how it works, super impressed with all of it. This isn't the type of gaming I'm going to ever do, and so that's why we're not doing a review of this thing. But I want to show you how smooth all this stuff is so that you can start getting excited if you're a Chromebook user or somebody who wants to buy a Chromebook and maybe wants to game on a Chromebook down the road. You can start getting excited about how well this all works. So we're going to start here in the Steam store, and there's a section in the store called Great on Deck, which is really cool because they're basically getting games together here that have been tested either by Valve or by the developers of the games themselves to basically say, yeah, these games run really well on Steam Deck. And the cool part about it is the number of games in here continues to grow. And so the more of these that we see from now until Steam gaming actually hits Chromebooks in a bigger way, the more that we'll have whenever Steam on Chromebooks launches to pick from. And so you can try any game you want. They're not saying that these are the only games you can play, but it's really cool that they're starting to curate these games and say, hey, we for sure know that this runs really well via the Proton compatibility layer. It's going to run well on here. Again, that means it's going to run well on a Chromebook. So let's hop into Apex Legends. We're going to just jump in and launch this thing. And I'm not going to have the volume turned up a whole lot so that we're not fighting for being able to hear what I'm saying here. But you'll see as it loads in, everything works the way that you would expect. I mean, you've got easy anti-cheat works here as well. So, I mean, there's no issues with anti-cheat working in different games because that was a big compatibility issue before when some of these games were trying to be run through Proton, is that the game would be fine, but the anti-cheat just would not work with this layer. And somehow Valve has figured that part out too. And you know, what they've accomplished here with running, again, this is a Windows game. This is a Windows executable file. Being able to run this on something like the Steam Deck, and again, later Chromebooks, is pretty crazy. And as you can see, I'm going to just jump into, I'm actually just going to jump into the gun range, just so you can kind of see everything moving around. And I'm good at this game on mobile. I'm pretty terrible at this game on this device, on desktop, on just about anything. But I'm going to show you some of the settings that this thing is running this at. But frame rates stay very high. You can output it to another screen if you wanted to, but as you can see, I mean, everything's just silky smooth here. You can see the nice reflections on the ground. Well, you can't now. If I back up, you can see those nice reflections there. Let me start running here. Again, you can tell I'm really, really good at this on this particular device. But again, what I'm really wanting to point out here is the fact, like, look at everything rendered in the distance. You know, the nice sunbeams coming off here, the detail in the grass and in the dirt, the detail of the gun, the detail of everything around, and the fact that we are just not dropping any frames. Everything is just buttery smooth, works just as you'd expect it to. And the cool part is, again, I keep imagining this actually running on a Chromebook and hoping, like, hey, at some point, maybe down the road, once it's available and I can run this easily on a Chromebook, because you can do it with GeForce Now, but I've had all kinds of issues, or spotty connection and all that stuff. And this game, you need to be kind of twitchy and fast. And so, you know, being able to load it up on a rig where, you know you're playing it locally and you're not going to run into any issues that way. It's pretty nice. But I mean, you can even see the blur on the gun down there. Just nice touches, all these nice graphical touches that look fantastic. And again, there is no way, if I didn't know, that I would think that this isn't running on a build of this game that is meant for Linux and meant for Steam Deck. But it's not. It's running a Windows version of this game. And you know, the Proton compatibility layer, you can see the textures there just look great. The Proton compatibility layer is just doing its thing. It just looks awesome. And again, this is running at 1280 by 800, so a little bit more than 720p. So we're not talking about 4K gaming or anything here yet. But I mean, for what it is and what it's doing, it looks really awesome. So let me jump in here into the settings, the actual game settings. I probably won't be able to see this on screen. It's pretty small, but I'll go up here to the video settings here. And let's see, you got triple buffered and the VSync. NVIDIA Reflex, this doesn't have an NVIDIA card in it. I don't even know what half of these things are. I'm really not that big of a gamer, but you know, TSAA is turned on. Texture streaming is very high. Texture filtering, and I don't know, it's at the highest level. People are watching this, if you're a gamer, you're probably like, how do you not know this stuff? I just don't keep up with this stuff. But shadow coverage, like, look at all this stuff set to high. The only thing that's not set to absolute highest here is resolution, because the screen just isn't that high of a resolution. So it gives you an idea of what this whole thing is capable. I mean, Proton is doing something that is pretty mind-boggling, if you ask me. It's taking a Windows game, running it on Linux, and making it feel like it's absolutely native, and is taking full advantage of the hardware on offer here in the Steam Deck. And I'm just blown away by it. I can't wait to see this on a Chromebook. I can't wait to see what some of the higher-end Chromebooks will be able to do with Steam gaming and Proton once everything's ironed out and the kinks are removed and things run like they're supposed to, because this is a really cool future to think about for gaming on Chromebooks. When you start talking about a $700 or $800 Chromebook that's got a nice processor in it and a good screen, to be able to run a game kind of something like this, that would be something pretty special indeed. But guys, that's it for this one. That's all I really wanted to show you. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, head down there, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to ring the notification icon as well if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Until next time, we'll see you.